the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, here to the Turn 3 Racing Network. Tonight here on Mother's Day, we have the National Speed Association presented by Voice Tech right here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. I'm your host here for this evening, Roger Muth, in the booth here, pushing the buttons, bringing you all the action here live from Kansas. Just about 5 minutes and 30 seconds here from qualifying for these guys. This is the third to last race of the season, and as we talk about third to last race, let's check out something here real quick. Let's check out your Voice Attack point standings and see how they look coming into tonight. Well, look at your Voice Attack point standings here. Chris Garrett finds himself with a 1-point lead after last week not being able to make the show as he was out down there in Nashville on a race. Chris Stump closed the gap, 9 points all the way down to 1 point. So that's a 1-point gap between your first and second place drivers. Charlie Widener back there after a handful of wins. He finds himself sitting third, only 2 points out of the lead. And how about the strong contender of Jamie Christensen? Not a concrete check here tonight for Jamie, but he's sitting there fourth in the points, only 4 points out of the championship hunt. And it's a little bit of a gap. Back to you find Dustin Phillips there. He runs fifth, 26 points out of the lead. Trey Hoovler, always a strong competitor, last week winning. Trey Hoovler being 70 points out of your lead. Stephen Page right there, 7th, 78 points out. And then you find J.J. Garrett as he sits 8th in the points, 105 out. DeMarco Starks there is 9th. And rounding out your top 10, David Gervais. Gervais runs there in your 10th position in points. And man, does he always have a quick number 39 truck. Nothing ever seems to surprise us when it comes to David running towards the front of the track last week. Towards the front of the pack. Last week, David ran up front for the majority of the night, led the most laps actually, and unfortunately not going to walk away with a victory from last week from Dover, but finds himself inside the top 10 in points. The rest of your points, 11th through 20th on the right-hand side there. So we talked about how there's only 3 races left, and that is your Voice Attack point standings right there. We have tonight here at Kansas. Next week, we're going to head to Charlotte, a track that everybody knows. Spends probably the most time at Charlotte for these iRacing guys. And then it's on to round out the season on May 26th from the Lucas Oil Raceway. So time is running out for those point standings to kind of shuffle through. We're going to have to pay attention to see how that all stands and plays out here at the end of the season. Let's take a quick look here at the running order here with 3 minutes left here in qualifying. There's your top 15 drivers as they sit. Felix Gratton, one of the new drivers out here tonight, has a quick 06 machine. Jamie Christensen second, Chris Stump third, David Gervais there in fourth. Trey Hoovler is fifth. So we got, looks like a little under 3 minutes left here in the practice session before we let these guys turn a couple qualifying laps. So we're going to step away. We're going to get the national anthem played, and we'll be right back with you here from the Kansas Speedway with the National Speed Association right here on the Turn 3 Racing Network.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rackets regular, the boats bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Welcome back, race fans, here to the Kansas Speedway. One of the first drivers onto the track. Going to be a newcomer out here, the number 5 of Carl Schaaf. Not too well known out here with the National Speed Association, but Schaaf going to come out here and see if he can put in a quick time with that number 5 Toyota Tundra. So now Carl on the clock here for his first qualifying attempt from Charlotte. I'm looking up here in chat, Danny. I do see, I believe it is the new scan of Charlotte next week, but Kansas is where we're at here tonight. So you see how Carl's up against the top, trying to put as much speed as he can in this number 5 machine on his first lap. The bottom lane probably going to be the place to be, though, for your good qualifying time. Carl does go P1 right now on the qualifying board, as he's the first one to put in a qualifying attempt here tonight. A couple of your other drivers coming out here on track. J.J. Garrett in that 35 machine. J.J. out here goes second quickest on his first lap with a 30.718. Not a bad time, but that is a get-up-to-go lap, so J.J. going to look to improve that on his second lap. Another newcomer out here tonight, the 06 of Felix Gratton. Haven't seen Felix here with the National Speed Association before, but we welcome him in here, and let's see where he goes on lap number 1. He goes 5th quickest, bumping down J.J. Garrett for a moment, but J.J. Garrett going to take that pink 35 and put her on the pole. He's got the hot shoe right now with a 29.964 second lap. Jamie Christensen coming out of the pit road. He'll get that number 9 voice attack machine up to speed. How about Chris Stump? Chris Stump back in action in the Cialis 98 machine. Right now 7th on the board. The last place qualifiers. You see a couple guys making a couple moves up there. Felix Gratton going P2, Stephen Page P3. Let's see as Chris Stump comes off turn number 4, where he's going to slot in the Cialis machine. Chris Stump going to go to the pole. 29.843 second lap for Chris Stump. And he explodes the motor on that one, so he'll have to go back to the pits and get a brand new motor put in that Cialis number 98. David Gervais is here, the man of steel Chevrolet. Not too many Chevrolets in the field here for the NSA boys, but this is one of them. And boy, last week, what a heartbreaker. David Gervais having such a good run at Dover. First lap, I believe, here for David Gervais. Actually, his only lap it looks like he's going to take. Going to go P2 on the board. He's going to go with a 29.938. So a really good lap there. A couple laps. Top 4 dipping down into the 29-second bracket. Let's see Jamie Christensen here in the number 9. Right now, sitting 11th on the board. Let's see where he sits up here as he crosses the line with just a minute little over a minute to go here in qualifying. He's going to jump up into the 29 bracket. He's going to go second on the board with a 29.853. How about this man? New number, new paint scheme out here tonight. The number 15, Trey Hoovler. He's 12th on the board with the slowest time right now of the guys who have taken a qualifying time, but he's on his, that was his get up to go lap there, his first qualifying lap. Now it's going to be down to see if he can throw down one heck of a qualifying time. You see him really throw it down to the bottom to try and take the shortest route around the track. Well, let's see, Trey Hoovler going to come across the line here on his second qualifying lap. He's going to go 29.905. That's going to slot him into third fastest, so not a bad spot to be put in tonight. And it looks like that's going to be your 12 cars that are going to take qualifying. Looks like the 57 of Chris Garrett not going to take a qualifying attempt here, along with Charlie Widener, Jan Beeson, and Jean-Francois Pilot. Not going to take a qualifying attempt here tonight from Kansas. Their start shotgun on the field is there. You see it. Qualifying has now come to an end. Chris Stump going to be our number 1 qualifier here from Kansas. So as we wait for these guys to grid up here from Kansas, tonight's race is brought to you by the Voice Attack, the number 1 voice recognition software on the market. These guys have been a long-time sponsor here with the National Speed Association, and they are right here on board with us tonight here from Kansas. Once again, we do thank everybody for tuning in here, either watching over on the iRacing.com page or right here on the Turn 3 Racing Network YouTube page. We do appreciate everybody tuning in here on Mother's Day. So any mothers out there watching, happy Mother's Day. Looking like just about everybody is taken to the grid here. Just waiting on Trey Hoovler, I believe, Charlie Widener, and Stephen Page to take to the grid, and we can start to roll these trucks out here. 133 laps going to be the distance tonight. Going to be interesting to see who can outduel their competition here tonight. There's your track facts on the screen. Kansas Speedway, yeah, we see it's the circle. It's not quite a circle. It is, though, a 4-turn track. Length right around a mile and a half, a little over that, 0.3 over. 133 laps what we're going to do here tonight. It's going to equal out to a 203-mile race. Track temp sitting at the nice, cool 71 degrees here under the lights. Air temp, 70 degrees. Looks like we just about have everybody that has been called to the grid. Well, while these guys are waiting, let's just run you through your qualifying lineup because Stephen Page is going to start from the pit stall tier tonight. Qualifying grid as they are. Chris Stump going to walk away with the pole here. Jamie Christensen going to roll second. Third going to be the 15 of Trey Hoovler, and the 39 of David Gervais. Fifth place going to go to J.J. Garrett, and the newcomer, the 06 of Felix Gratton. Stephen Page going to start from the pits, but he is slotted to start in the 7th spot. Jean-Francois Lavoie going to start that 397 machine in your 8th starting spot. 9th starting spot going to be the other newcomer, the number 5 here of Carl Schaaf. And, well, there's another one, the number 90 of Matt Sandberg. Starting 11th going to be Pascal Brassoule and DeMarco Starks in the 27 machine. 13th going to go to Chris Garrett. And, well, there is that newcomer, the number 3 of Jan Beeson. Charlie Widener 15th. Jean-Francois Pilot going to start 16th. And that's going to round out your starting grid here. 16 drivers to take on this Kansas Speedway. Pace car down and away, and there we are. We're going to go green flag racing for the first time here from Kansas with the National Speed Association. Right now, Chris Stump has it out of turn number 2, but here comes Hoovler. He wants it there, single file throughout your top 10 drivers right now. Coming to complete lap number one. Lap number one going to be in the books. It's going to go to Chris Stump, leading Trey Hoovler, Jamie Christensen, J.J. Garrett. And J.J. Garrett, he's under attack right now. Here comes Carl Schaaf to the inside in the 06 machine. The inside lane here at Kansas going to hang on for a handful of laps. As you see, Schaaf going to take that spot. Schaaf going to go forward. J.J. Garrett now going to slot into your 5th position. The question is, how long can you run that bottom? 3, 4, maybe 5 laps. This is the estimated time that these guys are going to have real quick trucks down to the inside. And look at that 05 machine. Or sorry, the 06 machine. 06 of Felix now up into the 3rd spot as he got around the number 9 of Christensen. Big wing wide of Chris Stump out front. Here comes Felix. Felix looking now to the inside here on Trey Hoovler, trying to take that spot away. Can he take it? Down into 3 they go. J.J. Garrett now moved that 35 machine down to the inside lane. Look at Felix. Felix going to go for a 2-for-1 there. Went into turn 3, running 3rd. Going to come out of turn 4 and across the start-finish line. New leader here from Kansas, going to be the 06 of Felix Gratton. So Felix going to lead his first laps. He goes right to the bottom. So now your top 3 going to be Felix Gratton, Chris Stump, Trey Hoovler, J.J. Garrett right there in that pink 35 machine hanging on. And how about Chris Garrett, your points championship leader, bringing the 57 Under Armour truck. Now inside the top 5. Chris Garrett goes 5th. Jamie Christensen is 6th. Carl Schaaf, though, in 7th. Pascal Basuli sitting there in your 8th spot. Charlie Widener 9th, and David Gervais having a quiet night running right there in your 10th spot. Well, David runs in your 10th spot. Here comes the newcomer of Sandberg in the number 9. He tried to look to the inside. Inside still seems to have a little grip right there. Matt Sandberg going to take over the 10th position. And as Sandberg took it, so did John Francois there in the 397. He goes 11th. Let's go back out front here because, oh boy, side by side up here. 2nd place, 3rd place, 4th and 5th, all side by side. Chris Stump still sitting on the outside. But man, look at that 57, Chris Garrett. He comes to the dance real quick as he's now looking to challenge for the lead. Felix to the outside, Chris Garrett on the inside. Battle for the top spot here on lap number 7. Coming off the corner, looks like that 06 machine going to battle back on the outside. He's going to have the momentum from the top lane, but that inside lane hasn't gone away just yet with the cool temperatures. Maybe a little more grip built up down on the bottom. And there you see it as they come off for almost Chris Garrett. Thought he was clear, thought about going up in front of the 06 of Felix, but not yet. Felix said, I still am here, young man. It's the same song and dance down in turn 1 and 2. Can Chris Garrett, though, slide up? He does slide up, but can Felix throw the crossover? Felix gives Chris a little bump there going down the backstretch. A little wrinkle onto the back bumper there, the back spoiler of the 57 of Chris Garrett. As Chris goes high, now Felix goes low. It's just a reversal from last lap. Who's going to lead it at the line? Looks like Chris Garrett going to lead another one here. So now 8 laps in the books, and we're still side by side for your lead. Look at that, your top 9 drivers right there in a line. Now it looks like that inside lane not working out for Felix Gratton, so he tries to jump up in front of Trey Hoovler. Hoovler going to move to the inside and try and work his way around. He's going to bring J.J. Garrett. There's going to be nose to tail down here on the front stretch. You see them all fan out. Once we get here to the front stretch, you're able to go down below that yellow or that white line. There's no rule that says you can't go down there. That's the apron, but they're going to utilize every piece of the track that these drivers can get. As you saw the move there for Trey Hoovler, he was able to get around Felix Gratton. Now J.J. Garrett still trying to work over the 06. This is a battle for your 3rd on back. Still Chris Garrett, Chris Stump out front. Felix Gratton still hanging on there to that 4th spot. Now Jamie Christensen trying to move into the outside lane here to try and get around the 35 of J.J. Garrett. Maybe that inside lane now that we're getting a little bit farther into the run. Oh, look at JJ. He's going to find his way back up to the top side, but Carl Schaaf going to dive it to the bottom. Can he slide up in front of JJ? As they work off 4, let's see. He doesn't slide up. He actually gives JJ plenty of room, so Carl Schaaf going to stay on the bottom side of the track. Give JJ the outside if he really wants it. That might hurt him coming down into turn 1. Let's see. Because they're still going to be side by side. Can Schaaf keep the momentum to the inside lane? No, it really looks like that outside lane is going to be a little bit better right now. So Schaaf going to try and slot in between 2 teammates there of JJ Garrett and Charlie Widener. It looks like he's going to be able to put that number 5 there. Going to play a little block game there on Charlie Widener. He's going to be able to block the 95 and hang on to that position. Chris Garrett started to pull away just a little bit now over Chris Stump. Has about a half-second lead over Stump and then a second lead over Trey Hoovler. Hoovler doesn't seem to be that far back there, and he's actually, last time by, was the quickest truck on the track. So Trey Hoovler trying to move back up into your top 2 positions. Just has a little bit of time yet. We're not even halfway through our pit cycle. We're on lap number 14 here in Kansas. This guy's looking, as they run 100% fuel, looking probably right around lap 50. I'm thinking possibly, you know, depending how much you're out of the throttle, because once these tires wear out, you're going to be out of the throttle trying to ride the wall quite often. Everybody has single filed out here on lap 15. They got what they could get while the tires were good, and now they're trying to ride it out, see if they can save a little bit. See if they can make some moves later on in the run. Kansas Speedway, just one of those tracks that once the tires go away, you're kind of stuck at the top. Yeah, it's an open setup league here for the National Speed Association, but it's really hard here at Kansas to set up a truck to get a lot of speed out of it on a long run to ride the bottom. I know if you tuned in, what was that, Friday night to the actual Camping World Truck Series, whatever they're even calling it anymore, you saw a good race over there. Those trucks, like Stuart Friesen, was able to run the bottom lane. We're going to see if there's anybody that has a setup like Stuart Friesen to run the bottom. But even so, it's going to be hard passing out there tonight. You might see a couple slide jobs throughout the field. That's about the only way on old tires you're going to get any position gain. It looks like there's a battle right here. Felix Gratton going to look to the inside. He's just going to show his nose on Trey Hoovler. Is he going to go to try and make the pass in turn 1 as they're side by side? Side by side, you're going to see right here, right now. Is that inside lane going to be able to hang on the old tires? Felix Gratton going to be the first one to go down there and try it out. It doesn't look like that's going to work. Now it's going to be Jamie Christensen attacking the 06 of Gratton as they work down the backstretch into 3. Oh, Jamie Christensen sideways in the voice attack number 9. Also, your leader of Chris Garrett was sideways. You see him in the grass. Jamie trying to lock it down and stay off the track. Oh, caution flag going to wave here on lap number 18 for the driver of the number 9, Jamie Christensen, going a little bit sideways. I'm wondering, though, let's peek over here and click on the 57. Let's throw her back and see what happened to Chris Garrett. Let's see him. This is him coming off turn number 3 and 4 here. What happened to Chris? Because Chris was our leader. You see, he got a little sideways, possibly trying to get back to the throttle just a little bit sooner than the rear tires were going to allow the 57. He went through the grass to the inside, and then right behind him, Jamie Christensen having a little bit of issues in the same spot coming out of turn number 4. We'll wind it a little bit farther back. Here's Jamie as he was to the outside on Felix Gratton. That was the battle for third at the time. Jamie just tried to get back and get all he could. And there it is. You see the number 9 voice attack machine going for a spin through the grass. He just about got her woed up to the point where he wasn't going to bring out a caution. Unfortunately, around it went. Let's rewind it back a little bit farther. Actually, let's go on board here if we can. On board with Jamie Christensen. So there's your onboard camera from the point of view from the number 9 of Jamie Christensen as Pit stops are going to happen here on lap number 19. Going to be the first round of pit stops here tonight. Everybody on the lead lap and everybody down pit road. 15 drivers to see who can put 4 fresh tires on, make an adjustment. Maybe a little bit of wedge, add a packer in the rear, tire pressure, some tape on the grill. Track temp is still sitting actually right at 72 degrees, so it's gone up 1 degree since we've gone green flag racing. Charlie Widener, though, oh, some strategy maybe being played here. So Chris Stump going to still continue to lead us out of pit road. It's going to be Chris Stump, Felix Gratton, Trey Hoovler, Charlie Widener, J.J. Garrett, I believe, is going to be in the 4th spot. Charlie Widener looks like he got a great stop. He's going to go 5th coming out of pit road. Chris Garrett, who was your leader there for the first handful of laps, he's now 6th. Carl Schaaf is 7th. Jean-Francois Lavoie going to be slotted in your 8th spot. Pascal Brusuli going to be in 9th. And Jan Beeson there in your 10th spot. DeMarco Starks is running in the 11th spot. Matt Sandberg is 12th. Jamie Christensen, after his spin in the voice attack, number 9, slotted in your 13th spot. Stephen Page is 14th, and the 39 Man of Steel Chevrolet with a little bit of damage on the back end of that steel machine. That would be David Gervais in 15th spot. So a quick caution there as the lights on the pace car are going to go out. Once again, we thank everybody for tuning in here to watch the National Speed Association right here on the Turn 3 Racing Network, whether it be on the YouTube page or over on the iRacing.com page. We welcome you here to Mother's Day. I hope every mother out there had a great Mother's Day. Right now, one of these gentlemen are trying to make Mama proud out there and try and bring home the victory here from Kansas. Right now, Chris Stump has a solid Cialis machine. Short track racer himself venturing out here to run the 1.5 plus tracks, mile tracks, 2 mile tracks. Right now, has a good spot. P1 on this restart. Felix Gratton, the newcomer, tried to put his name in the book somewhere. He's already got a lap led here tonight. And now he's going to try and take a couple more laps. Then it's going to be Trey Hoovler in that rainbow number 15 machine. Then J.J. Garrett there in the pink 35. Charlie Widener. Then it's going to be Chris Garrett, and we're going to go back racing here on lap 22. And there you see it, green flag back in the air. We're going to go green flag racing here on lap 22 with fresh tires. And how about the jump there that Chris Stump took there? He's got out to the lead, and he brought Trey Hoovler right along with him. So it's going to be Chris Stump, Trey Hoovler, Felix Gratton, and the battle is for the 4th spot between the brothers. Well, 3 teammates throw those guys in a bucket together, shake the bucket, and let's see who's going to come out on top. Right now it's Chris Garrett, and then it's J.J. Garrett, and then it's Charlie Widener. Here comes Felix Gratton back to the inside. Felix really likes that inside lane. He makes it work for himself, and right now, we'll peek into the inside here on Trey Hoovler. He has Hoovler. Now he's going to go after Chris Stump. There you see it. He put the slide job off turn number 2 on Chris Stump. So Felix Gratton back to the point here. What's Chris Stump going to do? We know Chris Stump rode around the top side here in the beginning, early stages of this race, trying to save some equipment. Save equipment, what is that? Here comes Chris Garrett back to the inside. 3 trucks to the outside, 3 trucks on the inside. It's great racing here from Kansas when you can drive the truck anywhere on fresh tires. Look at it. 3 to the outside, 3 to the inside, 3 teammates on the inside lane, and 3 guys just hanging them high and wide on the outside. Chris Garrett takes the lead off turn number 2. Doesn't quite clear Felix Gratton, but he should down here in 3 and 4. As they go down into 3 and 4, Chris Garrett now going to slide up in front of Felix Gratton. He's going to come across the line. He's going to be back to the point. So another lead change here from Kansas. 5 lead changes now as Chris Garrett back to the point. He's trying to bring along that 35 machine of J.J. Garrett, his brother. It looks like off turn 2, Garrett brothers galore times 2 at the front of the field here. So it's Chris Garrett, J.J. Garrett, Felix Gratton, and how about Charlie Widener, the quiet man himself in the Mountaineers 95, still hanging right here. They've been under green flag conditions for 5 laps. Charlie Widener is probably starting to feel a little bit of the tires go away as he almost slides up into Felix Grattan. Had to lift out of the throttle just a little bit for the 95 there as they came off turn number 2. But he's right back to the loud pedal, trying to take that 3rd position. Charlie Widener looks like he has the momentum in the 95. He's going to slide up in front of Felix Grattan. So now put 3 teammates, positions 1 through 3. Chris Garrett out front. JJ Garrett with the hot foot there in 2nd. Then it's going to be Charlie Widener. How about this? Look at this. Here comes Carl Schaaf in the 5 machine. He's going to bring her to the inside. He's trying to pick off 3 trucks in 1 lap. And actually, timing and scoring says Schaaf did that. He picked off Trey Hoofler, Chris Stump, and Felix Grattan at the line. See it down the backstretch. Oh, contact towards the back. That looks to be 2 drivers in heavy contact to the inside wall. It's going to be the number 90 of Matt Sandberg and I believe Jamie Christensen in the number 9. It's going to bring out another caution here on lap 28. That's not what Jamie Christensen had in mind here tonight, as he had a quick qualifying time. We'll wind it back here. This is them coming into turn number 1. Incident happens off turn number 2. Oh, it looks like maybe Sandberg didn't know Jamie Christensen was down to the inside there as they came off the corner. They made contact, and heavy contact it was for both drivers. Let's go back. Let's go back here and let's see from the in-car camera from the number 90. There you can see Jamie up there in the mirror. And then all of a sudden he disappears, and to the inside he is. Matt didn't know it. He tried to keep it off the outside wall to start with, and then when he just made that little bobble to the left-hand side, it was already at that point too late. Here come your leaders down pit road for the 2nd round of yellow flag pit stops. So Jamie Christensen involved in that big hit. That's going to be a big hit to him in the points championship, as he came into tonight running 4th, only 4 points out. Going to have to see where that plays him out after that. So it looks like every driver down pit road here for their 2nd pit stop of the night. See them all down and away. Number 9 truck there of Christensen sitting on pit road along with the number 90 of Sandberg, but leading them out of pit road going to be Chris Garrett, JJ Garrett, Charlie Widener, Felix Grattan, and Carl Schaaf. Well, while we're here under the yellow, maybe we can get a quick word in with one of the drivers who were involved in that. Jamie Christensen. Roger, here in the booth. I know it's not how you wanted to talk to us, but what happened out there, my friend, off turn number 2?
Just got a good run on the 90 there and coming out of 2, and did a crossover on him coming out of 2, and I don't know, I think he came down a little bit, but those things happen, but we'll bring it into pit road here and see what kind of damage we're talking about. So
yeah, it looks like heavy left front damage on that voice attack machine. How long are you gonna have to sit on pit road before we're gonna be able to get that Toyota Tundra back out on track?
I got 7 seconds before I can tell you that.
Oh boy, 7 seconds left. Well, Jamie, that might be a big hit for you, so you're gonna have to get all that damage fixed here on pit road and get the voice attack machine out there. I'm gonna say good luck the rest of the way, but we're gonna have to see how that 9 performs now the rest of the night.
Yeah, it'll be 34 minutes before we get back out there, so it's going to be a little bit.
Well, 34 minutes for Jamie Christensen and that number 9 crew on the voice attack machine. They got a lot of work to do here to try and get that machine back out onto the track. That's unfortunate for him, as like we said, he came into tonight with a chance to take the points lead. Now it looks like that may have been just taken away from him. Looked like it's just some hard racing there off turn 2. 2 drivers getting together in Sandberg and Christensen, and now both those drivers 3 laps down with heavy damage done to both those machines. But looks like we're going to line them up here. We're going to go back green flag racing on lap 32. Garrett's on the front row. Garrett's are wild right now, and there's the green flag. We're going to go back green flag racing here. Still got 13 drivers on your lead lap. Great start by Chris, but JJ not so much. Trying to come up through the gears. Look at Felix Grattan. He thought about taking it 3 wide there for a moment, but then had nowhere to go on the outside. There you see him coming down the backstretch. Well, I say everybody, but only 2 drivers stuck to the inside right now. Charlie Widener has the inside spot here on Felix Grattan. He's going to try and make that inside lane work. He saw Felix use it. He used it to his advantage on the last green flag start. And there it is. Charlie Widener going to try and hold a little bit into the grass there for Charlie Widener. That's going to allow Felix Grattan to sneak under him. Felix Grattan shows the nose of the 06 there. Charlie Widener going to have to take it high. He's going to lose that spot that he just got. So it's Chris Garrett, JJ Garrett, Felix Grattan. And, well, Charlie Widener says, I'm not sure. I think I want the 3rd position back again, friend. So he throws it to the inside, and this time off turn number 4, takes it back. So now put Widener 3rd, Grattan 4th, Stump sitting here in 5th. Hoover, though, sitting right there for a moment. He was actually side by side with Carl Schaaf. Schaaf made a little bit of a bobble, and here he comes back on the attack, though, now off turn number 2. Looks like a big wiggle out of Pascal Brusuli, as back here he's now off the pace. He went from running in your 10th spot, now with that big wiggle off turn 2, back to 12th, and now he's about to lose the position to David Gervais. Let's go back up here, because these guys are putting on a heck of a show right now, here for the 6th spot. Chris Stump has it. Schaaf wants it. You see him down the backstretch. Schaaf in the number 5, still to the inside, trying to figure a way out around Stump. The leader still single file. It's still Chris Garrett, JJ Garrett, Widener, and Grattan out front. There it is. It looks like the momentum going to allow Carl Schaaf this time out of turn number 2 to possibly throw the 5 up in front, the Calvin Klein machine. There it is. Carl Schaaf going to take over the 5th position, going to move Stump back to 6th, Trey Hoovler into 7th. Chris Stump, Trey Hoovler, they just pretty much been running nose to tail all night long since the drop of the green flag. They went both to the top of the track on the initial start, and those 2 machines have pretty much been nose to tail, just riding the high lane, trying to save their trucks. The only issue with trying to run the high lane is possibly getting into that outside wall. Look how close they are, maybe a half a truck length off of the wall. You saw somebody out in front of them. I believe that was actually Charlie Widener as he came off turn 2. You saw the sparks down the backstretch. He got into it just a little bit to the outside wall. Single file at the front of this field. Look at everybody able to use a different line there. You see Francois Lavoie back here. He was running a little bit different line that time through 1 and 2 than everybody else. Everybody else kind of up against the wall there. You see actually Carl Schaaf down a little bit as there's a battle actually running for your 3rd spot. Felix Grattan came off turn 4, turned that 06 machine dead left, and he just stuck the throttle, and he took back the 3rd position from Charlie Widener. Right now, Chris Garrett, though, out front. He has a hot tune-up in that Under Armour machine here tonight from Kansas, and he's got a half-second lead over his brother of JJ. Then it's Felix Grattan, who's all over the back bumper now of JJ Garrett. Charlie Widener starting to lose a little bit of ground. And there's still this battle back here with Carl Schaaf, Chris Stump, Trey Hoovler. They're actually starting to reel in your leaders. I don't know if it's actually your leader. They're reeling in the leaders or if the leaders are just coming back to them now. Those drivers have all been trying to save the tires running the high lane, other than Carl Schaaf, who's been running that middle lane the whole time. .40 laps complete here from Kansas out of the 133. for the National Speed Association, presented by Voice Attack here on the Turn 3 Network. And oh boy, there it is. Felix Grattan going to look to the inside here off turn number 2. Felix Grattan bringing that 06 machine, making his presence known here tonight. He may be the newcomer, but he's not slow. He's no slouch as he throws it down to the bottom of the track there. He's going to come off turn 4, slide up in front of JJ. JJ going to move it to the inside, though. Charlie Widener nowhere to go. He's blocked right now, sitting there running 4th. As they throw it into turn 1. Oh, almost contact there between JJ Garrett and Charlie Widener. Widener had to breathe that truck just a little bit. JJ goes wide there coming out of turn 2. It looks like possibly stuffing it into the wall just a little bit. Could JJ have just stepped on his own paw? So now it's Felix Grattan, Charlie Widener, then JJ Garrett. But here comes Chris Stump. Stump wants a piece of the action here. Look at that, 3 trucks, 3 different lines battling all for the same position, all the same real estate they want. Oh, look at Carl Schaaf, big wiggle out of him coming off turn number 2. As he wiggled, though, the battle still rages on here. Chris Stump now has the 4th spot over J.J. Garrett. And you know he has a little bit fresher tires. He hasn't been to the bottom of the track other than just right there to work around J.J. Garrett. So now Chris Stump sits in the 4th spot. J.J. Garrett all the way from the 2nd position, now into 5th. He runs 5th with the Rainbow Machine, number 15, sitting there in your 6th spot. Carl Schaaf still hanging on to 7th, and Jean-Francois Lavoie still sitting there in your 8th spot. Stephen Page is 9th, and DeMarco Starks rounds out the top 10. But the battle is still up here. Now the question is, can Trey Hoovler, is Hoovler going to peek the rainbow nose to the outside here on J.J. Garrett as they go down into 1? Trey Hoovler bringing the Rainbow Machine around J.J. Garrett, so that'll put Hoovler to 5th, J.J. Garrett now 6th. And it's not over yet, because here comes Carl Schaaf in the number 5 Calvin Klein Toyota to the inside. Can Schaaf clear J.J.? There it is. Schaaf going to take away the 6th position. That's just, J.J. just keeps dropping through the field. I'm not sure if there's any damage. We know he came off turn 2 a handful of laps ago. As you can see it right there between the hood and the front left or front right fender on the left-hand side of your screen. There is a little bit of damage done to the front nose of that. This being a 1.5 mile track, long back straightaway, long front stretch with a little bit of a curve in it. Well, that's going to affect the handling of the 35. So right now, J.J. Garrett kind of on the fence, hoping that he can bring it down pit road here. But the man who don't want to come down pit road, that's going to be the 57 of Chris Garrett. He took one heck of a wild ride in the opening as he went through the infield grass along with Jamie Christensen, but that didn't really seem to affect that 57 machine. He also has a little bit of rear end damage on that 57. That's from when Felix Grattan and him exchanged a little bit of paint. Right now, though, Chris Garrett. Oh, trouble for Charlie Widener in the back here. Yellow coming out here on lap 47 as Charlie Widener in the 95 has gone around. Heartbreaking here. Not quite halfway, though, so Charlie Widener going to be able to turn her around and get her pointed the right direction. Let's go back on a replay and try and find out what happened to Charlie Widener as he came off turn 4. He was running in the 2nd spot right in front of Felix Grattan there. You see him. That's turn 2. Let's see what happens off turn number 4. You see Widener up against the wall. That's where everybody seems to run. It just seems like the rear tires just kind of break loose. Around he goes, just a self-spin, harmless little spin to the inside. Nobody making contact with him. See the entire field trying to work around him. Let's see if we can go back actually a little bit. Maybe we can hop on board with Felix Grattan here. There you saw it from the onboard camera of Felix Grattan. He never lifted when Charlie Widener started to lose the rear tires on that 95 machine. It looks like everybody down pit road once again here on lap 49. This will be our 3rd go-round on pit cycles. You see everybody coming in to hit their pit box. Chris Stump has the first pit box as he was your pole winner here tonight. Four tires and fuel around Here comes Chris Garrett. He's going to win the battle. Oh, maybe not. Felix Gratton actually going to get the battle off pit road. Then it's going to be Chris Garrett, Chris Stump, Trey Hoovler. How about the big mover here? It's going to be the 397, it looks like, of Jean-Francois Lavoie. He moves up into your 5th spot. Steve Page going to move up to 6th. Carl Schaaf to 7th. David Gervais in 8th, and DeMarco Starks coming out in 9th, with Pascal Brasuli coming out there in your 10th spot. Charlie Widener, rough one for him as he's sitting 11th right now on the grid. Let's see, maybe we can get a word in real quick here with the driver of the 95. Charlie Widener, got a copy. It's Roger up here in the booth.
Yep.
Well, Charlie, not the way, just like one of your counterparts out there that wants to speak to me here in the early going. What happened as you came off turn number 4 to that 95 truck?
After a few laps here, it just wants to kick loose on you, and you have to be ready. And I tried to save it, it just wasn't saving it, so it just snapped loose on me coming out of 4.
It snapped loose on you coming out of turn 4, but my friend, this looks like one heck of a race out there. Tell us how the track is out there.
Oh, it feels great. It's kind of like a super speedway for a few laps. You just pick the right lane to get around somebody, but you got to play, saving your tires a little bit too. So you just try to figure out how hard you want to push it to begin with. But it's a lot of fun right now until it snaps loose like that.
Until it snaps loose. We saw you running the bottom of the track with fresh tires. How much, does the bottom really play a factor with fresh tires versus the top lane?
It's significantly faster for the first few laps. It's definitely a good way to gain a spot or so, but it's nothing that would be long term. That high line is the way to go long term. So that's why when all three of us got to the front, we went high. So.
Well, Charlie, it looks like we're going to come to get the one to go here. Elbows up, my friend. You're going to restart here on lap 52 from the 11th starting spot. So you got a lot of work to try and catch back up to the top spot.
Yeah, I got up there from further back. So let's do it.
Well, there's Charlie Widener. He self-spun off turn number 4. Just no grip left in the tires for that 95 machine. And, well, now it's going to be one heck of a charge. He started in your 15th spot tonight. Was all the way up to 3rd. Right when he spun, he had just got around Felix Gratton for that position. And then it just snapped loose on him. So he's going to have to try and take the truck back from the back to the front here for the second time. Lights are out, though, here on the iRacing pace car. We will go back green flag racing on lap 52. Well, if you're new here, turning in to watch the National Speed Association right here on your Turn 3 Racing Network, go ahead, hit that little thumbs up, hit the little bell so you know every time we go live here on the Turn 3 Network, there's always somebody here broadcasting something throughout the week. Be able to find some action that you enjoy. And, well, talk about action. It's about to be turned up real quick here on lap 52 here from Kansas. A quick start there out of Felix Gratton. The pace car turned left. He hammered down, and he's away here. So Gratton going to take the top spot and hold on to it. The question is, can Chris Stump bring that Cialis machine to the inside? We haven't seen him run the inside lane at all here tonight. He goes to the inside here on Chris Garrett. Can he make the pass, though, is the question, because they're going to go side by side off turn 2, down the backstretch. Give a little bit of an edge here to Chris Stump. Stump goes into 3. He has the advantage, and he has the spot right now. But here comes Chris Garrett. He's going to try and cross over Chris Stump. At the line, give it to Chris Garrett. Garrett is showed ahead of Chris Stump. Felix Gratton just kind of hanging on out there. He's still in your top spot. Looks like we got some 3 wide just about for a moment there as DeMarco Starks brought that 27 machine there to the inside. He was 3 wide with Carl Schaaf and Stephen Page. Stephen Page wisely backed out of it and said, you know what, gentlemen, you want it, have it, I'll get it from you in a couple of laps. Talk about come and get it in a couple of laps. Felix Gratton feeling the heat right now as Chris Garrett has been all over the back bumper. And there it is. Chris Garrett I want to say Chris Gatton, but it's Chris Garrett as going to get under Grattan there coming off turn number 2. Felix Grattan going to go straight to the top side to save a little bit of tire, but that's going to put the 57 back out front as he's going to cross the line here. That means Chris Garrett's been out front now for 35 out of the 54 laps we have completed here from Kansas tonight. How about that black truck right there sitting behind the rainbow-colored machine? That black truck being one of our friends from the north for the Redneck Racing Crew. That's Jean-Francois Lavoie. Let's pull up that driver stat and see where he started here tonight. He started inside your top 10, but on the initial start, he went straight backwards like he had the anchor still attached to the 397. And now he's worked his way up inside the top 5. He's having a good run here, and hopefully he can keep that up. Battle back at the front of this one, though. Felix Grattan going to look back to the inside here on Chris Garrett. Off turn 4, Felix Grattan going to take the lead back here from Chris Garrett. These guys just keep exchanging blows left and right. Felix Grattan has been out there. He has led 11 laps. That's the second most we've seen all day. And look at that. Down in turns 1 and 2, just same song and dance, just reverse it each time we go into one of the corners. One of the drivers here in your top 2 dropped to the bottom. Not this time, though. Felix Grattan going to stay to the outside. He's going to hang on to the tailgate there on the 57 and see if he can get a tow around. And as these two drivers exchange slide jobs there for a moment, well, here comes Chris Stump. Trey Hoovler still nose to tail. You might as well at this point just say Chris Garrett, or Trey Hoovler and Chris Stump have just been locked together as a little tandem out here tonight. Both drivers having a ton of respect for each other, and they always seem to be around each other at the end of the race. And, well, not quite to the halfway point just yet, and they're already playing that same song and dance. Look a little farther back here. Look, here comes Charlie Widener. He's gotten around a handful of drivers. He's picked up 6 spots since the initial drop of this green flag run. Charlie Widener now runs in the 7th spot right behind Stephen Page. J.J. Garrett in that 35 machine still hanging on back here after he stepped on his own paw. J.J. Garrett right now runs in the 8th spot. Only one driver out of the event here tonight. That's going to be the number 90 of Matt Sandberg as he's off track. He's loaded the number 90 up here, so rough showing for him in his first race here with the National Speed Association. Jean-Francois Pilot not making the grid here. Was scheduled to start in the 16th spot, not taking the green flag, and Jamie Christensen still sitting on pit road for the last 22 minutes. Let's go back to your leaders, though. Chris Garrett, Felix Grattan, still nose to tail, followed by the duo themselves, Chris Stump, Trey Hoovler. Charlie Widener has gotten around now Stephen Page. He's trying to bring his buddy in tow, J.J. Garrett, but not going to happen. Charlie Widener going to take over the 6th spot, so that Mountaineers truck definitely has a quick setup for Charlotte. I keep talking about Charlotte. Next week is Charlotte. This week, Kansas. Next week, Charlotte. Both 1.5-mile tracks, but they're not going to run anything alike. Tonight here from Kansas, we see them running the high line. Next week, when we head over to the Charlotte Motor Speedway, you're going to see them ride in the bottom lane, arcing it in there right down to the bottom. Try and get a good run off the corner. Turn 4 at Charlotte going to be one to watch out for. There you see the gap between Charlie Widener and Jean-Francois right there. It's actually sitting at about 0.8 of a second that they're behind each other. Let's check out this front group because they're still sitting like they were. Question is, now they got 15 green flag laps on their tires. Have the good stuff wore off there for Felix Gratton. We know he's really strong on the initial green flag drops of restarts. And now he started to kind of fall back. He's sitting, well, probably about 3 truck lengths off the back bumper of Chris Garrett. There you see your top 5 and 6 there as they come off turn 4 to complete lap 64 here tonight. .69 laps to go here, so closing in on that halfway marker. Garrett's been out front. 45 laps left. Chris Stump has been our other leader. It shows 9 lead changes between 3 drivers. Your top 3 are your only 3 drivers to go out front and lead any kind of laps here tonight. Going to take a peek because this is a battle right here. Charlie Wider trying to crack the top 5 to the inside here on John Francois. Charlie Wider going to crack the top 5 here after spinning out of your top 3. Charlie Wider now back into your top 5. Took him 18 laps, but he did it, and he's bringing in tow the number 1 of Stephen Page. Oh, contact between Stephen Page and Charlie Widener. Stephen Page to the infield, trying to catch it off turn number 2. A lot of room down there, so he hangs on to that number 1 machine. But he's going to be well off the pace now as he loses the spot there to JJ. Here comes Pascal in the 182. He's going to lose 2 positions in that little scuffle. Charlie Widener looks to be okay. It doesn't look like there's any damage on either of those 2 machines. Just a little contact. Ran out of racing room there, and, well, see what happens. Oh, big wiggle that time out of Charlie down in 1 and 2. As Charlie Widener takes the little bit of a wiggle, doesn't seem to affect how far he's pulled on John Francois right now. Still, actually, it's actually growing now. Almost a second gap between those 2 already. You see that Charlie Widener has been into the outside wall. You see a little bit of damage on that right front as we got a yellow flag out there. I believe Stephen Page is slow on the track here in the number 1 machine. That may have been what brought out our yellow. Let's throw it back. Oh, yeah, you already see Stephen Page sideways trying to hang on to. Oh! As Stephen Page tried to hang on to her down on the apron, he got into DeMarco Starks and David Gervais. We're going to have to throw it back just a little bit farther. What actually happened? As we watch Stephen Page. Looks like the rear end of that truck slides out, just gets a little loose. Tries to collect it on the apron, and as he collects it, because of the banking transition there, up the track he went into the side of DeMarco Starks, also bringing along David Gervais. Let's rewind it back and go on board with David Gervais. Nowhere for David Gervais to go. He didn't even know that hit was coming. So everybody back down pit road once again. And it looks like it's going to be, once again, Chris Garrett getting the good pit stop in here. Looks like he should be getting out in front of Felix Gratton, Chris Stump, Trey Hoovler, Charlie Widener, John Francois Lavoie, Pascal Brusuli, and the newcomer here tonight, Jan Beeson. Carl Schaaf sitting in 9th, and David Gervais after that spin sitting in 10th. Well, here on Lap 70, we're going to step away for just a moment. We'll be back here with the National Speed Association for more racing here from Kansas. Welcome back, race fans. We are on the 1-to-go signal. Right there is your leader, Chris Garrett, still leading the way here from Kansas Speedway. Chris Garrett, Felix Gratton, Chris Stump, Trey Hoovler, your top 4. Charlie Widener has worked his way back inside the top 5, and we're going to drop the green flag here on lap 73 and get him wound back up here. There's National Speed Association presented by Voice Attack here tonight from Kansas, and there it is, back to the loud pedal early. So Chris Garrett going to get a great start over Felix Gratton. And the dance is on here. 3 wide for a moment. Charlie Widener stuck the 95 in there. Something possibly going wrong there for Chris Stump. Maybe missed a shift. Whatnot. He has lost a lot of positions. He goes from inside the top 5 all the way back to your 10th spot. So Charlie Widener now, though, back up inside your top 5 as he runs 4th. And here comes John Francois. He's running 5th, and he's got the inside spot right now on Charlie Widener. Can he take that spot away? Seen that inside lane work for the first handful of laps, but it looks like John Francois has actually a little bit of right side damage. Did he possibly flatten the right-hand side of that truck? As J.J. Garrett with his flattened right-hand front end of that truck, he goes around John Francois. So it's Charlie Widener, J.J. Garrett, and John Francois for your top, 4th, 5th, and 6th position. A little bit of a battle right here, though. Here comes the number 3 of Jan Beeson as he's trying to move his way up through the field. This is to the inside here of Pascal Busule. Busule with a big wiggle that time off the corner there. So those two going to go down into turn number 3 side by side still with Beeson to the inside. Not going to be able to make the pass, because here comes Pascal on the outside. Outside lane really has the momentum when it rolls. Oh, Pascal into the wall. Pascal tried to get a little too much up there, and he went into the wall. He's going to get passed up by Carl Schaaf and Chris Stump. Now Pascal Rasuli going to have to deal with the damaged right-hand side of that number 192. Chris Stump trying to work his way back up through the field here. Right now slotted in your 9th position. Carl Schaaf is right ahead of him. Out front, same song, same dance. There it is, the Chris Garrett machine. Chris Garrett, Felix Gratton, Trey Hoovler. Caution flag on the speedway. It looks like Stephen Page once again pointed the wrong direction in that number 1 machine. Let's take a look back. Stephen Page back out on track there, but you see a lot of right-hand side damage on that number 1. Oh, came off turn 4, caught the wall, and it just kind of hooked that number 1 truck back to the right-hand side. So Stephen Page he was having a pretty good night out there, and now all of a sudden it seems like the wheels have fallen off, and now he's trying to gather it back up. Number 1 is Stephen Page. Started in the 7th spot, is all the way down. His lowest marker at one point was 15th, highest up to 6th, just outside your top 5 as he's going to bring the number 1 down pit road. Should see another round of yellow flag pit stops here. The leaders all coming down nose to tail. Looks like 11 drivers still left on the lead lap that are going to pit here nose to tail, led by Chris Garrett, Felix Gratton, Trey Hoovler, Charlie Widener, and then the rest of the field as they make their way into their pit boxes. A lot of these guys already quick pit stops. It looks like J.J. Garrett might have been the first one off pit road, as he is. First one off pit road going to be J.J. Garrett with a 2-tire stop. Then it's going to be Trey Hoovler with the first 4-tire stop. It's going to be Hoovler, then Gratton, Widener, Garrett, John Francois, and then Schaaf, Stump, Rasuli, and then Gervais. One guy staying out here. It's going to be the number 3, Jan Beeson. So Jan going to lead his first laps here in that number 3 Silverado Lions Club. A lot of Toyotas out here on track, and or I say unfortunately because, well, it's a Toyota, but here comes Beeson. He's going to hand over the lead back to one of those Toyota drivers, J.J. Garrett. Top 5 at the top of the screen as they're running right here after 79 laps. Still got 54 to go here. We're going to step away for just a moment once again, and we'll be back with more green flag action here from the Kansas Speedway.
Once again, photo finish here of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Holgate? It's going to be Christopher DeMerit at the line.
Well, welcome back here to Kansas Speedway. Lights on the pace car are out. We're going to go back green flag racing on lap 82. Only 45 laps to go here. And what a show we've had here tonight for the National Speed Association right here on your Turn 3 Racing Network. The man that's been out front, he's led the most laps here tonight, and that's going to be I saw Garrett and I assumed Chris was out front. The Paul man himself, J.J. Garrett, out front on a 2-tire stop. We're going to see our first 2-tire stop here tonight. Let's see how it plays out for J.J. Garrett. Try not to step on himself is what he'd probably say right about now. So we're just going to wait for the iRacing pace car to make its way down pit road, and we should fire him back up. J.J. going to wait a little bit longer than most have here tonight. There goes J.J. Garrett. Now we're going to go back green flag racing. Green flag racing as you see them all starting to fan out. The flash bulbs going wild for these guys here tonight. J.J. Garrett trying to run away from the field because here comes Felix Grattan. Grattan to the inside here on the rainbow number 15 of Hoovler. And look at that. Chris Garrett nowhere to go right now with a fast truck. J.J. Garrett, though, going to protect the bottom lane here. He knows they got 4 fresh tires coming behind him. Here comes the house for the rear bumper. Charlie Widener in the scruff here, along with Chris Stump. Both those drivers making their way back to the front. Could we see a 3-wide battle here? J.J. to the outside, Hoovler in the middle, and Chris to the inside. Grattan going to take over the lead here. He's going to block to the inside on Chris Garrett. Tries to get that push there from the front nose off the 57. Grattan going to come off turn 4 with the lead. The question is who's going to have the second spot. Oh, Grattan with a big wiggle off 4. That's going to open up that inside lane at the line. Give it to Chris Garrett. Garrett back to the lead. Grattan in second, Hoovler third as they're just about 3 wide into the corner. As they go 3 wide, check out the man running in your third spot. Here comes Charlie Widener as he's looking for more. J.J. Garrett with those 2 tires on the right-hand side of that 35 machine still. Oh, he's sideways there in the middle of the corner. Sideways hanging on to the 35 is J.J. Garrett. Man, look at him. Look at the driving skills being displayed by JJ with the 2 tires being, kind of swallowed up by the field here on 4 tires. Charlie Widener going to take her wide down into 1. Felix Grattan going to drop her to the inside. Grattan going to take back the 2nd spot from Charlie Widener. So it's now Chris Garrett, Felix Grattan, Charlie Widener, Trey Hoovler, JJ the Man Garrett, Chris Stump running right there 1 through 6. Charlie Widener back around the inside there on Felix Grattan, so slot that man back into your top 2. Coming back out on track for the first time in 57 laps, going to be the number 9 of Jamie Christensen. There's some drivers ahead of him that he could possibly, if he can get enough laps turned, he could pick up a couple positions. Looks like a lot of these guys that were feeling pretty racy there on the initial stint, now starting to kind of back her down a little bit. The good stuff on the tires starting to wear themselves out here. So now since they've decided who's going to run where, it's going to be Chris Garrett out front with that 57 machine. It's where he's been majority of the night. Charlie Widener runs back inside your top 3 after running there early in the race, taking a self-spin off turn 4. Charlie Widener now has himself back to 2nd. Felix Grattan's been battling in your top 3 all night long, has a really fast Toyota, especially on that initial start. See him as he drops it down to the bottom on those initial starts. He picks up a lot of positions, but right now Felix Grattan running in your 3rd spot. Trey Hoovler, seen him all night run the top side in that rainbow number 15. Hoovler running 4th right now. Chris Stump, who's been pretty much following, either he's been in front of Hoovler or Hoovler's been in front of him. Right now, he runs in your 5th spot, and the 2-tire gamble by J.J. Garrett right now slots him into 6th. That's your front 6 drivers who've kind of started to pull themselves away here from the number 3 here of Jan Beeson as he runs in the 7th spot. John Francois runs in the 8th spot with Pascal right behind him in 9th, and David Gervais a little bit off the pace, running in your 10th spot after having early contact with number 1 is Stephen Page. Charlie Widener trying that inside lane because they have started to pull back Chris Garrett. The question is, though, you can get there, but how do you pass him? That's going to be the hard part. There you see Grattan all over the back bumper there of Charlie Widener still. Coming to complete lap number 90, going to be Chris Garrett. Let's see how many laps it's going to be for him. That'll be 64. He's been out front. Charlie Widener would really like to get up there and lead a lap. He's one of the drivers that are in the points championship hunt. Widener came into the night 2 points back out of the man that's leading this one right now. So if he could get up there and lead a lap for that 95 machine, that would net him another bonus point and pull him back just a little bit closer. So 3 guys inside your top 3 in points find themselves inside the top 5 here. You got Chris Garrett, Charlie Widener, and Chris Stump. The man who's had a rough night tonight, though, the number 9 of Jamie Christensen. There you see him back out on track in that voice attack number 9. He runs 13th, 57 laps down. Carl Schaaf coming back out onto the track after spending, looks like possibly around 9 minutes in the pits. He's been put down 11 laps now. But Jamie Christensen could possibly, if he's out there running for another 35 laps, he could pass DeMarco Starks, who's off track right now, and he definitely has enough laps as there's 41 left to go. So as long as he can keep the number 9 voice attack machine out there, he'll pick up another position here. And that's what he needs. It's all about points right now. He came into the night 4 points back, having a rough night here with a lot of damage on the number 9. He's going to need that 1 extra spot. Chris Garrett still leading the way with Charlie Widener 2nd, Felix Grattan in 3rd, Trey Hoovler is 4th with Chris Stump in 5th. J.J. Garrett with those 2 tires now that we're on a long run, starting to fade a little bit. So 5 drivers in a little train of themselves up here. Chris Garrett still toting the line. Last week, Chris Garrett not able to make the show from Dover, had to take the provisional points from last week, which didn't really help his, I mean, it gave him last place points for last week, but what could have been is the question. And it's what it's going to come down to in the championship hunt. We know Chris Garrett, along with his brother of JJ, they travel with a modified. Last week they were at the Nashville, I'm not sure if it was the Nashville Fairgrounds or the Nashville Speedway, but either way, they were down there last Sunday, not able to get home in time to catch the race. Didn't have the race that they wanted either from Nashville, blew a head gasket in the motor and whatnot, so the motor's tore out of the car, getting it rebuilt. But tonight, he has the hot shoe here, and the battle, though, for second, talking about the hot shoe, put him on the hot plate right now. Charlie Widener starting to lose ground to Chris Garrett, and Felix Grattan all over the back bumper there, not finding a way around him. Now that they got, all the good stuff, like we said, wore off the tires here, nowhere for him to go. The question that runs through my mind, Trey Hoovler, who runs in your 4th spot right now, has been inside the top 5 all night long in that rainbow number 15. Kind of just sitting there. You haven't seen Trey Hoovler try to make any attempt or anything tonight. He's just been kind of steady. Oh, we got a spin there. Chris Garrett to the inside spinning. Yellow flag flying here on lap 98 as Chris Garrett came off turn number 4 and once again spun her through the infield grass. Let's take a look back. This happened as he comes all 4. This is him coming down the backstretch. You see it, the rear end just stepping out from that 57. He tried to get all he could get, unable to get any more out of the 57. Just a careless little spin through the grass. So he'll be all right. He's going to be shown in your 5th spot. But you know what that does? That now cans over the lead to the 95 here at Charlie Widener. Man, Mountaineers Nation going crazy right now. Charlie going to take a bonus point for leading that lap, and then he'll lead everybody right down pit road. Everybody but your 2 lap cars are Carl Schaaf and Jamie Christensen going to come down pit road here. Pit road opens up on lap 98 as there you see everybody down pit road. Got to ask yourself here tonight, though, how lucky is Chris Garrett? How many times has that truck spun through the infield grass and just been all right? Looking down the line there, I think I only see 2 Chevrolets in the whole field left on your lead lap. It's a Toyota-dominated field, but Charlie Widener going to lead him out of pit road with a 4-tire stop. Felix Grattan, then Chris Stump. Trey Hoovler, Chris Garrett, and then Jan going to come out there in the number 3, sitting in that 6th spot. Pascal is 7th, John Francois 8th, David Gervais 9th, JJ Garrett sitting in pit road for a little bit of time. It looks like he's possibly getting some of that damage beat out of that number 35. You did see him into the wall early on. David Gervais going to come out 9th, and then JJ will be 10th. Well, let's see if we can get a word in with the man who's taking the most scenic routes here tonight. Chris Garrett, you got a copy. Roger here in the booth.
Yeah, I do.
Well, you can just hear it in your voice already, Chris. Kind of, it just seems like you're a little bit down, my friend. What's happening with that truck as you come off turn number 4?
It's just getting loose out of nowhere. I'm trying to keep the right rear underneath it, but it's so hard to do that here because you're running such a high speed on that high side, and it's just, I don't know, I can't figure it out.
You can't figure it out, as we've seen not just yourself, but we've seen your teammates also coming off turn number 4 with a little bit of a wiggle in those trucks. They've taken it through the grass a time or two. I'm going to guess all 3 of you are out there running the same setup, so if all 3 drivers having the same thing, it's obviously not a driving style. But what are you going to need in your driving style to get back through the field here tonight?
Just try and keep the wheel a little bit more steady than I have been. That's about all I can really think.
Well, it's going to be a tough one, but we know that Charlie Widener has done it. Your teammate, he runs up in P1. He started farther back on a restart than what you're going to start here. But the question is, Look at the guy in front of you. You going to be able to get around that guy?
Oh yeah, I got no problem getting around him.
Wow, it's only your brother. No love lost there, right?
That's right.
Well, Chris, good luck the rest of the way. I believe we're going to get, is it one to go here?
Yeah, one to go coming up.
One to go here from Kansas Speedway. There you just heard from Chris Garrett. He's now shown in your 9th spot. Going to take a lot of work to try and gain back what he lost there. He's led the most laps here tonight. Let's see if he can work his way back up to the front of the field here. As you see, the lights on the pace car are off. We will go back green flag next time by. That'll be on lap 102. So that only leaves 32 laps of green flag racing here. Should be able, if we can get a green flag run long enough, we should be able to run the rest of this race on the set of fuel that we have and the set of tires. So we shouldn't see any green flag pit stops. We have it calculated right around 50 laps of full throttle racing around the Kansas Speedway. And we know that ain't going to happen because you got to lift it a little bit once the tires wear out. Well, right now we're going to tune them up here, set them loose. We're going to hang them high and wide, and you're going to possibly see some 3-wide racing here because these guys know the laps are going to start counting down here real quick. It's going to be Charlie Widener, Felix Gratton, Chris Stump, Trey Hoovler, Jan Beeson, Pascal Brasuli. Then it's JJ Garrett, John Francois. Then it's Chris Garrett and David Gervais rounding out your top 10. Carl Schaaf is out there running in the 11th spot. Jamie Christensen still out there running in 13th. There's the pace car, the iRacing Mustang down and off the track surface. And there for a moment it looked like Chris Stump was ready to go. And Charlie Widener said, "Not yet, my friend." How about the big run that JJ Garrett got on the top side? JJ Garrett going to go from the 7th spot all the way to 5th, picking up a handful of positions there. Driver up into the outside wall. It's going to be the number 5 of Carl Schaaf. And then to the inside, Chris Garrett stepping on himself, coming off turn 2. He locks her down. Yellow flag waving, though, but Chris Garrett going to take a self-spin, it looks like. But we're going to have to go back here and watch the replay and see what happened to Chris Garrett in the 57. You see the 57 gets a pretty decent start. He's 3 wide. John Francois to the inside. He clears Francois. And he's working on Pascal there. Oh, it looks like possibly a little contact between Chris Garrett and then the number 3 of Jan. And then there it goes. The 57 just losing her down to the inside. He was sideways enough that it threw the caution flag. So under caution we are here once again. Charlie Widener still out front. But as we're working another yellow here on lap 103, we're going to step away. We'll be right back here with the National Speed Association, presented by Voice Attack here on your Turn 3 Racing Network.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Welcome back, race fans. The lights on the pace car are out. We will go back green flag racing this time by on lap 107. That'll give us, well, 27 laps here left tonight to figure out who's going to win it. Charlie Widener, Chris Stump, Felix Grattan, Trey Hoover are going to be your first 2 rows, and we're going to go back green flag racing. Pace car is down and away, and there it is. You see the man himself, Charlie Widener, back to the pedal, trying to get it early. As Charlie Widener going to hang on to the lead for the time being. Felix Grattan going to throw the 06 Toyota down to the inside. He's going to take the 2nd spot. So it's going to be Charlie Widener, Felix Grattan, Chris Stump, and then the man, the myth, and the Trey Hoover machine. Chris Garrett is up to your 5th spot here and real quick, so he's trying to make his way up through the field. Something wrong with J.J. Garrett as he's bringing the 35 machine down pit road, so something not to J.J.'s liking. Let's hang here with the leaders as there's a battle. Charlie Widener still hanging on, but here comes Felix Grattan. Grattan going to peek to the inside here this time down the backstretch. Grattan shows the nose. Charlie Widener gives him the lane down to the inside. 5-car battle here for your lead. Right now, though, Felix Grattan back to the lead. As Felix Grattan comes back to the lead, now Trey Hoover starting to show his muscle in the number 15. Oh, contact between Stump and Widener. Heavy contact for Charlie Widener. Chris Stump also getting involved in this one. Both those drivers have been to the back of the field here numerous times, and well, it looks like once again that's where they're going to have to go. Looks like J.J. Garrett possibly having a pass-through penalty as he's back out on track. Let's rewind this and see what happened with Charlie Widener and J.J. Garrett. Let's go over top here. Oh, you see, looked like Charlie just came down a little bit, and right there sat that machine there for Chris Stump, and around they went. Low little contact then there. There came the 39 of David Gervais. Looks like quite a bit of damage done then to the front nose of Gervais. Let's go on board with David Gervais. Oh, you see it, just not enough room for David Gervais to make it through there. He makes the contact then with Chris Stump. And then I believe that's Pascal Brasuli going around in the 182 machine. So another late race yellow coming out, and all your leaders, though, going to take advantage except for Jan. Jan's going to stay out there. Or sorry, Jan in the number 3 is going to stay out. Everybody else on your lead lap, though, going to come down and put 4 fresh tires on. They've only, had 1 lap of green flag racing on those tires. But here comes your leaders. They're going to put a handful of, or another set back on. There comes that Chris Stump machine there. A little bit of damage on the right front. Actually, it looks like the nose, both sides of that have a little bit of damage. So he's probably going to take the time here to fix that machine. But it looks like Felix Grattan. Then it's going to be John Francois with a 2-tire stop. Oh, no, he is a 4-tire stop. Just had a really good stop there. Then it's going to be Hoover. Then Pascal, then Chris Garrett, Chris Stump. Top 5 after your pit stops at the top of the screen here. We should go back green flag racing with just under 20 laps to go here from Kansas. This is your first time tuning in here on the Turn 3 Network. Go ahead, give it a thumbs up, hit the little bell. We're live here at all times throughout the week, whether it's myself, Chris Legou, Danny Valenzuela. We're here bringing you action. closing laps here for the NSA boys from Kansas. You got to think to yourself, you got 2 new guys out front. Can the new guys come in here from Kansas and rain on the parade, spoil the party here tonight? Yan finds himself out front with Felix Gratton right behind him. John Francois, look at that man. Lavoie is up here, and he is having one heck of a show. Trey Hoovler is sitting 4th. Pascal Bersuli sitting there 9th. Chris Garrett is 6th. JJ Garrett is 7th. Chris Stump is out on track in 8th. Charlie Widener right now sitting in pit road in 9th. Jamie Christensen has picked up a couple positions as he now runs in your 10th spot. The question is now, Yan has been out there for a handful of laps, unlike all these other guys who have come down and put on some fresh tires. Can he hold off the strong charger there of Felix Gratton? Gratton, we know on the restarts, has been very aggressive here tonight. And now that the laps are winding down, I don't suspect that Felix Gratton's going to take it easy. See Charlie Widener and Chris Stump coming out of pit road down there. They're going to try and tag the rear of this field before we go green flag racing. We're going to come back green flag with only 15 laps to go. It's been one heck of a race here from Kansas for these guys, as we've seen some really good 2-wide battles. We've seen a couple slide jobs here tonight. We've even seen a handful of 3-wide. It gets a little touchy. And you're about to see it all once again here in the closing laps. So 8 drivers still left on your lead lap. The 9th place guy is Charlie Widener. He is 1 lap down, and Jamie Christensen is running, well, it looks like he's got 56 laps, so he won't be able to make up any more positions here tonight. Pace car is down and away, and waiting. There's the green flag. We're going to go green flag racing. 15 laps to go, and look at Yan. Yan got one heck of a restart there over Felix Gratton. Gratton trying to get to the inside. We know he has a good truck down in the bottom groove. Felix Gratton gets to the bottom. Trey Hoovler also, along with John Francois. 4 trucks right there at the front of this one. You see that truck down to the inside. That's going to be the number 9 of Jamie Christensen. He's just getting out of the way at this point. Chris Garrett back here trying to make a move on the number 182 of Pascal Bersuli. He's going to take away that spot, so now put Chris Garrett in your 5th spot, and look at the battle for the lead. Felix Gratton trying to take away the lead there from Yan. That inside lane really works out for the 06 machine, and there it is. 06 of Felix Gratton going to take back the lead. Trey Hoovler almost making contact with the number 3. Now it's Hoovler, but here comes Yan back to the outside in the number 3. Silverado trying to pull the outside. Not enough momentum built up in that 3 as they came off turn 4. So Felix Gratton, Trey Hoovler, Jan Beeson, Chris Garrett, John Francois, JJ Garrett, Pascal Bersuli, Chris Stump, Charlie Widener. That's your 9, your top 9. Jamie Christensen runs in your 10th spot. Timing and scoring jumping around on us a little bit. It says we're back to 17 to go. We're going to have to keep an eye on that. Regardless of that, we can go green flag the rest of the way here tonight. And there it is. Chris Garrett making the pass there on Yan on the older tires. So give Chris Garrett the 3rd spot, and he is coming for your leaders in a hurry. He has ran them down from way back. Chris Garrett, not, somebody that hasn't been in victory lane. He has some real good finishes this year. Handful of top 5s. He's only finished outside the top 5, and looks like 3 times on the season. Right now he's trying to take another spot here. He wants to finish 2nd tonight. going to take that second position away from the Hoovler Nation machine. Now it's Chris Garrett in second, Trey Hoovler in third. Now his sights are set on the back bumper there of Felix Gratton. Let's take a ride around Kansas here with Chris Garrett. Saw those hands inside the truck there for Chris Garrett. Not a lot of movement, trying to keep a steady wheel. Doesn't want to burn out that right front tire here from Kansas. You burn out the right front, then you're going to have to migrate to the top. And, well, with how fast that 57 machine is, look at him close up on Gratton's back bumper. Both drivers riding right around that bottom grooves, not working or not moving up just yet. They've actually left Trey Hoovler, and Jan Beeson is all the way back to the 5th position as J.J. Garrett works around him. So those old tires there for Jan. It's Jan. Get him right sooner or later. But Jan back there in the 5th position in the number 3. Looks like your leaders will have a lap truck to deal with. I believe that's going to be Charlie Widener that's out there in front. Charlie Widener is a little bit slower than your leaders. It looks like by about 20 miles an hour, so they're going to catch him relatively pretty quick. And then right ahead of them, that's going to be Chris Stump. Stump also off the pace, right around the same pace as Charlie Widener. Charlie going to go high. Your leaders are going to work to the inside. Oh, look at that. Now the 57 of Chris Garrett right up on the back bumper there of Felix Gratton as they came through turns 3. At the line with 10 to go, though, it's still Felix Gratton, Chris Garrett, and Trey Hoovler starting to close up just a little bit. This time through past the lap car there of Chris Stump. Your leader is going to go to the outside. And there it is, Chris Garrett with those fresh tires and a lot of speed. Going to take the lead back here with 10 to go. So now slot Chris Garrett back to the front. He's been there the most tonight. 71 laps, now make it 72 laps he's been out front with 9 laps to go. Can he finish her off? What is Trey Hoovler, though, going to say about it as he started to close the gap on these guys? The top 3 right there, Garrett, Gratton, Hoovler. Then it's J.J. Garrett. How about the rebound there for that man after he stepped on himself? I believe he also got a penalty at one point, and now he's battled back for a 4th. I was going to say a 4th place finish, but he's got to hang on to that number 35, and then we can see if he can hold on to the 4th spot. Jan, right here in the number 3, Jan Beeson. That man took the gamble, took the track position, and right now it's paying off as he's still hanging on to your top 5. Pascal Brasuli having one a heck of a run, holding on to the 6th spot. We saw him go around in the early going. How about John Francois? This man battled all night long, had a good car, was up inside your top 3 at one point right now, though, hanging on to 7th. Chris Stump is 8th. Charlie Widener is 9th. Jamie Christensen is running in that 10th position. Yeah, but right here, it's still Chris Garrett, Felix Gratton. Now that Chris Garrett has got around him, has still been able to hang right there. If Trey Hoovler has anything left in the tank in that number 15 machine, now's probably the time to go. We're going to have to see what he has left, or is it just going to be a 2-horse race at the front here? 3 Toyotas leading your top 3 spots. 6 laps to go. Handful of drivers out of this one. John Francois Pilot is out of this race along with David Gervais. Carl Schaaf having a good run in the number 5, being his first race out there. Caught up in something, and then he had to retire the number 5. Stephen Page is out. DeMarco Stark's out, and Matt Sandberg also out of this event. So that leaves you with 10 drivers left out here on the track with 5 more circuits around. Looks like Chris Garrett's starting to open up the lead now. Chris Garrett has had to go to the front, from the front to the back a handful of times tonight, worked his way back up here, and now is holding on to it. Question is, though, can he hold the rear tires underneath that 57, or is he going to come out of turn 4 one time sideways? We've seen him make some really good saves, and we've seen him lose the truck twice here. With 4 laps to go, all he has to do is come off turn 4 4 more times. 18 lead changes here tonight. Will we see another lead change, or is it going to be the final time we've seen Chris Garrett and Felix Bratton battle it out? Oh, there you saw Trey Hoovler in the 15 machine a little bit sideways off turn 4. He's going to lose a lot of ground now. Now he's got about a second gap between him and Chris Garrett. Nobody else battling for any positions throughout the field, so we're staying right here with your top 3 leaders, as it's still Chris Garrett, Felix Grattan with 2 more laps to go here from Kansas. What a night it has been, though, for Felix Grattan. Ran inside your top 5 all night long. Could you imagine what it would be to come out here in your first race with the National Speed Association with an open setup league and kind of steal the show from the boys that have been out here all year battling it out? Right now, though, about a half-second gap between Chris Garrett, Felix Grattan, and then it's about a second, a little over, right around a second and a half back to his fine Trey Hoovler. Look at that gap. It grew even more that time. White flags in the air. Just one more rotation around this track here for Chris Garrett tonight. Can he do it? You've seen him take, I believe, actually, we had 3 spins by the 57 here tonight. A little rear end damage on that Under Armour machine, a little front end damage now, but it still has the speed. Never knocked the speed out of the truck. Chris Garrett going to come off turn number 4. He's going to see the checkered flag in hand. Something happened, though. Trey Hoovler with a big slide. Chris Garrett comes across as your winner. Felix Grattan in second. Trey Hoovler is third. J.J. Garrett going to come across the line with a top 5. How about Jan Beeson? He comes away 5th. Pascal Bersuli in 6th. John Francois there in 7th. Chris Stump's going to have to settle for an unfortunate 8th place finish, and Charlie Widener going to come home in your 9th spot. As Charlie comes across the line, though, but how about that man out front? Chris Garrett put on one heck of a show here tonight. Going to come away with the win. He spent himself out front 81 laps here tonight, so the most laps led going to go to the 57 of Chris Garrett. And he's going to burn him down. We're going to step away for a moment. We'll be back here to give you your post-race interviews right here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. You just watched the National Speed Association from Kansas. Welcome back, race fans, here to the Kansas Speedway. We just watched 133 laps for these truckers as they battled it out. The National Speed Association, though, they put on one heck of a show. They did it again here at Kansas. Chris Garrett obviously had the quick shoe tonight. He also had the quick shoe to turn that truck around and point her in the wrong direction a few times. Took her through the grass a couple times, but he still came home your winner here from Kansas. But I caught up first off and foremost with your third place finisher here tonight. It's going to be Trey Hoovler. Trey, you put a new paint job on that truck, and it seemed like he had a solid truck. He rode around the top lane most of the night following Chris Stump until he had his issues. What was going on out there with the 15? Yeah, we talk week in and week out about how this is a open setup league. So we know yourself, Trey, you will run the VRS setup a lot of times. With the VRS setup, was there any point where you were going to be able to go down to the bottom on old tires, or were you just fixated to the top lane?
So no, I don't think so. I just, like I said, just plugged it in and ran it, so there wasn't a whole lot to it. We had some weird issues tonight, man. The sim was throwing cautions for people in the grass off the racing surface. I don't know if that's a glitch. Kind of bails people out a lot of times, but I don't know, man. It was a lot of stuff going on tonight.
Yeah, a lot of things were happening out there on track, and we do apologize for the audio issue there with Trey's mic for a moment, but we got it working. We got it working on our end. But Trey, a third place finish. It seems like week in and week out, though, you usually find yourself running inside the top 5, the top 3. You have won here before, but what was it going to take tonight to put that number 15 in victory lane?
Different setup. We're flat footing it, so there was just the setup. So I can't wait to go back to fixed.
Well, there you heard it from Trey Hoovler. Wants to go to a fixed setup, not having the time to really play with it. But Trey, who helps you out on that 15 car? All right, well, Trey, congratulations on the third place finish. Trey has, walked away from us here momentarily, but Trey Hoovler going to come home in your third spot. Man that we're not going to be able to get an interview with because we don't have him with us, though. How about the newcomer, the 06 of Felix Gratton? Had a great run. Started in your 6th spot. Kind of battled between the first and second place all night long. So Felix Gratton, congratulations on your second place finish. But how about the man who won it, the 57 here, Chris Garrett? You came in as the points leader tonight. You're going to walk away here from Kansas with a little bit bigger lead, a little bit bigger of a cushion than just 1 point.
It's about time.
Well, it's about time you say. How did you do it here tonight, I guess, is what I really want to ask. You had a really fast truck. It seemed like you were miles faster than anybody else out there.
It was really fast. Like, it would roll the bottom pretty good, and I figured out something there in practice, and I think it kind of helped as far as long run. But when that could roll the bottom, it was pretty good. And, of course, I started back there in 13th, and I rolled the bottom until I got up to the front, and I was like, that's going to work the whole race until it starts rolling up to the top, and then that's when you just want to ride the high side. And I tried to back it off a little bit just to kind of save my tires, and obviously I didn't save my right rear good enough because I spun through the infield a few times, but hey.
Yeah, taking the ride through the infield didn't really hurt you too much because it seemed like every time that did happen, something else happened, and it kind of saved you with the yellow flag coming out, so you were able to come down and get 4 fresh tires. But let's talk about after you spun out of the lead the second time, you had to drop to the back and come back through the field, but then it seemed like off turn 2 something happened. Let's talk about that for a second.
Where Charlie and Stump got into it, or what are you talking about?
Off turn 2 after you had to drop to the back of the field there. Coming back through on the green flag start, we saw the 57 to the inside. I believe that was of the number 5 of Schaaf there. Something transpired between you guys, and you ended up looping her around a little bit, I believe.
Oh, yeah, the 3 truck. He come down on me, and I already had the bottom, and I was right along the apron, right along that white line. And he basically chopped my nose off, and I just caught the apron and started getting loose, and I just kind of wiggled back and forth, and I couldn't catch it.
Yeah, not able to catch it. That brought another one of our yellow flags out. But you were able, in the end here tonight, to restart and come back through the field. You led the most laps, my friend, and you parked her once again. This isn't a super speedway like we saw last time. You actually had to work for this one. So tell us who helps you out on the 57.
Pretty much my whole team. I got highlighting racing there. JJ, Charlie. I mean, we pretty much get our setups and basically run with them and adjust them, periodically whenever we can. Jamie for keeping the league on. You up there in the booth, you do a great job. And Voice Attack for sponsoring the league. I can't wait to get that Voice Attack little thing there and start using it.
Well, tonight's winner here from the Kansas Speedway, Chris Garrett, put the 57 in victory lane. He had the quick shoe all night long, couple spins by himself, but worked his way back to the front. The rest of your timing and scoring results scrolling across the top of our screen here, but your top 5, I should say. I was going to say your couple handful, but your top 5 here: Chris Garrett, Felix Gratton, Trey Hoovler, JJ Garrett, and Yan Beeson. Your top 5 results. The rest of them scrolling across the top, like we said. So tonight, it was one heck of a battle here from Kansas. You saw the 3 wide battles. You saw the top lane, the momentum. The inside lane worked for a handful of laps. Next week, it's going to be a completely different story. We're going to head over to the Charlotte Motor Speedway for only 2 races left here for the National Speed Association. And wow, it's going to be one heck of a show. Chris Garrett is your winner here tonight, so he's going to open up that points lead just a little bit. We're going to have to tune in next week right here on the Turn 3 Racing Network to see what transpires here for the National Speed Association, presented by Voice Attack, your main sponsor here at the National Speed Association. So for everybody here at the Turn 3 Racing Network, Roger Muth, that is myself right here, we're going to catch you next Sunday night with all the action here from Charlotte.